Any tips on senior year academic wise? Keep it a bean, bro. You asking me in June, so you probably can't even schedule your classes. It's this already. You probably already got them scheduled. Take as many courses that align with your next level of college. To what major you gonna go into college for, what degree you gonna get, and guess what? I wouldn't even go if I didn't know. I don't know how many times. Well, y'all know it's something in college called what's the major? It's like what's the degree? Undecided or something? What is it called? What is that shit called? Undecided, right? Am I tripping or that's what it's called? Undecided, right? Somebody confirm this. And this major, no, it's not. Are y'all stupid? General studies is the studies everybody takes. Undecided is when a person has no major. Like, they have no major. Just think about that. Just think about that. What'd you go to school for? My first semester was nursing, and then every semester I had after that, except my last two, which was the fall that just passed and the spring before that, was cell and molecular bio. And then I technically had like a double major because I was in the honors college. Let me just make this point though. I remember being in university and there's people there who had what's called an undecided major. I would rather work at bro, listen, and this is about to sound crazy. I'd rather get a job than be undecided, bro. And I'm gonna tell you why. College is not free. I mean, I went to college for free, but it's not. Even if I went, bro, listen, this is the point I'm about to make, bro. Me going to school for free was a part of my game plan, and it worked. But guess what? I would even under a free degree, I was not playing without a plan. There's no way I would be taking debt over my head, paying for a degree, paying for classes, and guess what? Guess what? Investing my time in no direction. Zank, first, I appreciate the Twitch Prime sub.
Just here to learn from.
Appreciate it 2 months.
Appreciate the criticism on that question, though. To Dalmoon.
Let me give y'all like perspective of this. Let me give y'all an example. If I'm running on a treadmill at 100 miles per hour, and somebody's next to me, we start running at the same time, right? They're next to me, but they're walking 1 footstep every hour. And I'm running on a treadmill 100 miles per hour. Which one of us is going to get further in 5 hours? Who gets further, chat? Me on the treadmill at 100 miles per hour or them on the sidewalk at 1 footstep per hour? Who gets further in 5 hours? Answer this real quick, chat. Let's make this point real quick. Them walking. Yes, the person walking. Yo, one of my mods said 100 miles per hour. How would I get further on a treadmill? Don't you know treadmills running in the same place? Do y'all get it? So even if this person took 1 footstep every hour, they still would get further than me running 10 times as hard on a treadmill because I'm going nowhere. That's what it's like. That's what making decisions that have no direction are like. You're all this effort and you're going nowhere. So honestly, it's better to just stay still and make a plan and have direction before you do anything. The where direction matters. Not necessarily the how or the what, like what it's going to look like whatever. But I at least need some direction. Maybe the direction is something as simple as financial freedom. Like, oh, I want a job that's going to pay me this amount. I want, my degree to open up this many opportunities. I want like you need some kind of direction, bro. Otherwise, you're running on a treadmill at 100 miles per hour. And the reason I said I would never do that in school or in college, right? Or in life in general, because that shit breeds bad habits. I'm building a habit to where I think it's okay to make decisions without direction. And like I said, the person who makes decisions with no direction is the person running on a treadmill at 100 miles per hour. You're working hard, but you're going nowhere. You know why? Because you're not even thinking about where you're going. You just see you just see the fact that you're running and you think you're moving. When in reality, it's more important to move than it is to run. That's why I've compared. I'm like, all right, if this motherfucker running on the treadmill hard as they can, and I'm walking one footstep at a time, who's going to get further? I am, because I'm walking with, I'm at least moving forward. They're running and doing all this shit and getting nowhere. And a lot of the times, right, this is one thing I got right early on in my life. It has done nothing but reward me and help benefit the people around me. And that is a plan, a long-term plan. I'm going to give y'all an example, chat. Let me tell you, listen, I came up with this plan when I was 15 years old. I was 15 years old when this was plotted in my head. I'm about to give y'all an example. So not only did I always was into science and like science and stuff like that. So I always would just say stuff like, oh, I wanted to be a surgeon. I wanted to be into like that type of shit, right? But it wasn't until I got to high school to where I was like, okay, you can't just say this like on some young boy shit. Like, what do you want to be, an astronaut? What do you want to be like? I started really like looking into it, right? So I started looking at salaries, how long it took to get these jobs. And we know with the medical field, it's some years involved, right? So I started looking at the potential problems around. I'm keep in mind, I'm 15. My parents are not walking me through this. My parents are not telling me what to do, when to do it, how to do it. Nobody is putting this in my head. Like, this is on my own thinking. I'm trying to get this in your head right now. And because this shit literally structured everything after that. 15 years old, right? So I said, all right, let's really look at this plan. So let's really look at this plan, right? So first thing I'll do is I look at the salaries of the career, because I'm like, I don't want to be broke. So I was like, let me make sure this shit is at least worth my time, right? So boom, fast forward. Then answer the call. Can you focus on what we're talking about? So then I say, okay, this is how long it's going to take. This is the salaries. Okay, good. What's the potential problems that can come up with this? Debt. A lot of people go to college. A lot of people go into these careers and be living in debt. So then I started doing research. A lot of times they leverage and keep their debt for certain reasons and purposes, but that's a whole different ballgame in and of itself. Like not paying off your debt immediately. That's a whole different ballgame, a whole different conversation. But so I was like, what can you do about debt, right? What's ways to get school paid for? At this point, I remember it was like the universe hit me with something. I was living in this apartment building with my dad at the time, right? And when people would move out or get rid of stuff, it was like a free yard sale every week on the bench of the apartment. We had like some bench in the lobby. And sometimes people would leave random shit. I'm telling y'all, chat, it could be anything. It could be like cans of food. It could be books. It could be, I remember it was like a weighted jump rope down there one time. It could be, y'all get what I'm saying? Like it could be anything on the bench. Like people just leave stuff when they move out, right? And I'll never forget, I think I still might have this book, but it probably is at my pop crib. And it was this book on like the medical field. Coincidentally, I'm not even making this up how coincidental this time it was. And I remember I was just like, So I was coming from school one day and then I grabbed the book. Now, I'll never forget when I just randomly was like skimming through it and flipping through it on some bullshit. One of the pages in the book, I lied to you not, I remember this statistic line for line, bar for bar, because of how important this was with my strategy and how it helped my plan. I'm trying to remember this bar for bar. That shit says something like by 2030 or by 2050, some percentage, maybe let's say it was 50%. It said like by 2030 or something, 50% of the world's population is going to be over the age of 65 or not, or the United States. I forget. It had to do with ages and the percentage of the population. It was like, so basically it was this increasing population, increasing older people, right? And it was like there's a decreasing amount of doctors, like less people are becoming doctors. So it was like, here you are, the population is growing faster than it ever has been. There will be more older people than ever, whatever, etc., right? And there are less people becoming doctors. And it had like the statistics to go with it. And it was like projecting in the future like what it expected it to be, right? Now, me as a motherfucker who thinking ahead, what did I see? I saw supply and demand, right? So and guess what? I ended up being right, bro. I made a guess, which is just obvious. It's simple supply and demand, right? Okay, so the supply of doctors is running low. but the demand of them is going to only increase. So what happens in a scenario like this, chat? Let's involve your brains. I could understand this and thought and saw this would happen when I was 15 years old. What do y'all think? Where do y'all think my logic went, or my conclusion went from that? Prolific Amar, I appreciate the 3 months, man.
Yes, Sirik.
More money paid, more job application. No. Y'all thinking too basically. Higher salary. No. Go back one more. Not just, how can you pay doctors more when people don't even want to become them no matter how much they pay? What do you do? Okay, somebody's getting closer. Medical school prices go down. No. What they would do is, how do we get people to become doctors more, right? So scholarships, funding people to become doctors. That's what it was. Not, bump the salary of doctors up. It's help people become doctors. And guess the fuck what? I was right. Because NYU's medical school had like mind you could do this for research. I did all this shit. It was like this fucking sponsor they got. Dude donated like such and such $1 million to their medical school and made it like free tuition or something like that. Or free tuition and room and board. Cornell got something where it was like free tuition. For I forget which year or which type of doctor you had to become. Like it obviously was like on some like, okay, you had to become a pediatrician or a geriatrician or like, something like that. Where it's like old people or kids or something like that. But they were incentivizing the process. So they were funding the medical schools. They were funding, people to become doctors, because guess what? What they looked at it was, okay, supply is running low, demand is running high. What do? Well, why aren't people trying to become doctors? Because of the debt, the stress. The debt adds on top of the stress. It's already hard as it is. So you know what? We'll take care of the debt. And that's what the bigger schools started to do. And guess what happens? When the bigger schools start to do it, the other schools will follow. The trend was already happening. So I literally predicted this shit. And it was only, bro, I'm telling you, I was in this type of thinking when I'm like, okay, so if it's saying this going to happen by 2030, if I'm going to medical school by 2023 or 2024 or something like that, right? By the time I'm already in motion, this probably was back in 2017. So I'm like, by the time I'm going into motion, it's already they already coming out with more and more. Like the trend is starting to build up. You see what I'm saying? Like they're starting to take it more serious. They're starting to fund these schools more. So that's what I predicted was going to happen. And that's exactly what began to happen. This is a direction. I didn't know how I was going to get the funding. I didn't know what school or where, I was going to go to get it. I didn't know the how or the what it was going to look like. But what I did know is my direction. So what my direction allowed me to do is I said, okay. I put the requirements to get into NYU med school up. I put the requirements to get into Cornell's med school up. And then like that was the standard. My direction gave me a standard, right? So now that I had the standard, I was able to think like, okay, let's work backwards. They want this GPA in college. They want this courses. They want to see this on a resume. And you can go on YouTube and then it'll say some shit like, oh, I got accepted into Cornell. I got accepted to NYU med school. And here's how I did it. So you could do so much research. We got access to all this shit in this time and age. There's no excuse to be a loser. So it's all this shit available out here, right? So I set that as the standard. So now I work backwards from that. I'm like, okay, then what will help me prepare for that? So that's when I was like, all right, I want a high SAT score because it's a help funding for college. I want to take AP classes because I can actually graduate sooner depending on how many credits I get faster, or at least taking the AP class now will prepare me to get a higher GPA once I go to college. It's like that direction. It start making you connect the dots. It start making you, make decisions that at least have a direction. Now, mind you, I dropped out and I'm taking classes now for a whole different degree. Like I'm not even doing that anymore, but because of that direction, I was able to not only get my tuition paid for with a bonus on top. 1, 2, I at least know 4 of my homies who graduated on a full ride, benefiting from some of the opportunities that got open from doors that I bust open, that graduated. And I'm the only one who didn't, because I focused on this. I took the entrepreneurship route, and I'm still trying to go back and graduate on a slower pace. But that's because it's a personal goal of mine to just get my degree. But long story short, this direction has benefited me in so other ways. One thing led to another. Even though I'm not even in that school no more, everything add up, chat. I'm trying to tell y'all, you need direction. Purpose is everything. All these motherfuckers tell y'all, get on your purpose, get on your purpose. Where's your direction? Where's your goals? And I just gave y'all a clear example. Now, mind you, where did that come from? Behind all that, it wasn't just like, oh, I'm gonna make this big money and all that. What really supported that decision, what my thinking was I sat here and looked back at my life. I said, yo, I grew up in the fucking trenches. I grew up with this. I was around this. I seen that. Why is my life going in this direction? And most of my other friends is still on the same shit that we was on growing on to this day. Like, what changed it for me? And my answer for my individual life and my choice, I said influence or leadership, right? So I said, what makes a statement? What can make an impact as an influencer or a leader? And I said, being or achieving a lot coming from where I come from. And to me, that was being a doctor or something of that held some type of status. Even if it was a politician or something, it was just making that mark that was going to have that impact. So that was the fundamental direction that created it all. Next was the plan. Next was the how, the what. After that, but it all came from that purpose, bro. And I'm telling you, that shit changed my life as a man. Till you look forward, just turned 22. I don't even want to talk about some of the shit that I achieved in life, because I don't even like to make this shit about me or my achievements or my personal ego and all that. But I'm trying to tell y'all, I lived this shit. This is what this looked like. This shit ain't just about, oh, approach that woman so you don't freeze and work on your mouthpiece. So blah, blah. Nigga, my mouthpiece get me in doors that you can't pay for, that you can't bribe into. Because even a part of a bribe is that you got to have a conversation, or something got to come with the money. You know, the money talks. But how you going to market it with it? I'm not talking about bribing. That's not what I'm advocating for here. My point is, y'all got to know life is a game, man. You play it well or you don't. I just joined chat. How do you find your purpose / direction or connect to it? You got to think about your personal life. Like what means something to you? My purpose and my direction came from what was important to me. And to me, it was influence and it was direction. It was influencing people that came from struggle, that came from poverty, that came from circumstances that I came from. Now, I've been able to do that on a larger scale than I predicted, but it came from what I cared about. Somebody might get purpose from taking care of their family. Somebody might get purpose from saving animals, or somebody might get purpose from it could be anything. It could be collecting art. Like, you could get purpose from anything, bro. Like, you really can. It depends what means something to you. And then live for that shit. That's all. That's really summarizing purpose in the most simplest form. Right, let's say you say purpose from worshiping God. So you choose to embody a devout follower of your religion. And you do that to the letter. And you hold yourself accountable. That's another thing too. You have to hold yourself accountable. Look how fried these niggas' brains is. I got a fucking burp and that shit ain't come out. He said porn purpose. Like, what are you talking about? I think the internet, man, it has given us a powerful tool, but it's a dangerous weapon, man. Look, like, this is where this nigga's brain went. He probably thought that was like a funny joke or something. What did that even mean? Porn purpose. What did that even mean? Is it healthy to have a purpose like learning? What kind of question is that? That's a really pointless question. Is it wrong to focus on getting money? Y'all gotta look at the words y'all use, bro. Like, is it wrong to... Who am I to tell you what's right and wrong? Am I your God? Am I the ultimate judger of your decisions? Is this wrong? Like, why are you asking me this kind of question? Ask better questions, please.